Hey everybody, my name is Behzad.
My name is Risa.
And we are here from Naked and Famous Denim, and today we've got another brand new jean to talk to you guys about. It's the new MIJ12 Aomidori Selvedge, the latest release, part of the Naked and Famous Denim Made in Japan collection. And we're going to tell you everything you need to know about them, all the specs, all the details, how they came to be, our thoughts and opinions, ASMR scratch test stuff. You name it, you're going to know it, but you know what you got to do? Stick around all the way to the end of the video so you learn absolutely everything about them. But before we get into it, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Risa over here is going to get us started off with the specs right after this quick little intro.
Okay, so MIJ12 Aomidori Selvedge is a 16-ounce Japanese selvedge denim. It is 100% cotton, it's got amazing texture, and it's got a great color. And speaking of color, we named this denim Aomidori Selvedge. It's because in Japanese, Aomidori means blue-green, literally. So it is a blue-green colored denim, also known as Greencast Denim.
Right. So Greencast denims are indigo denims, which have a little touch of green added to them. And now, there's two ways of achieving this. The typical way, when you see a denim that looks a little bit more green than blue, is by top dyeing the yarn. So what happens is the yarns go through the rope dye indigo process, and at the end, on the top of the yarn, a little bit of green dye is added to give the denim a little bit of a green tint. But that's not what we did with the Aomidori Selvedge. To start, this has much more of an indigo look. Of course, it looks a little bit green, but we do something called a bottom dye. So the yarns start off with a slightly green dye, and then it goes through the rope dye process. So as the indigo fades, more of that green starts to come through. Now, this isn't the same as like our color core technology where we permanently dye the yarn. So that goes through something called a reactive dye. The yarns go into the dye and it penetrates all the way to the core. Here, all we're doing is like a light coating of green dye. So the center of the yarn is still white, but there's a little bit of green, and then the blue goes on top, mixes in together, gives you a green tint. And so the denim starts to go from dark indigo to lighter indigo with a little bit of green.
Right, exactly. So it brings out more, like it emphasizes more of the yellowish tone in the blue rather than the more, reddish cast, for instance.
It looks a lot like when you're doing rope dyeing or when you're doing indigo dyeing in general, when you have this blue bath of indigo, but when you dump the yarns into that dye, you pull it out, it comes out yellow, and then it starts to turn green, and then it starts to turn blue as it oxidizes. So the idea here is to kind of recreate that dyeing process kind of in reverse. So it goes from dark all the way back to that lighter, shade of blue-green.
Right, exactly. So in the beginning, it might be kind of hard to see that it's obviously a green cast, but when you compare a dark blue jeans with the reddish tint next to it, you can see the difference already. That it starts off with a little bit of yellow in it. And it's a great color. And on top of that, the texture of denim is amazing.
Texture is insane. You can see it's super, super slubby. And it's got this great hairiness to it as well. So it's an unsamphorized denim, so it doesn't get singed. The natural hair of the cotton still stays on top. It's super slubby, so we've got these big irregular size shaped yarns, so you get this crazy texture. And it's just a mix of so many different things. And if you're a texture lover, you're definitely going to like this because that slub yarn is going to emphasize those vertical fading patterns because, of course, those fat yarns absorb different amounts of indigo, depending on like how fat or skinny the yarn is. So it'll really emphasize a lot of vertical streaking on this one.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, again, it's not samphorized, so it's not like flattened. So that the texture of the fabric is already great. And then on top of that, because it is unsamphorized denim, we went through the process of Tempe treatment. So that's basically just kind of washing it, going through water so that it takes out some of the starch, it takes out some of the shrinkage that is, the downside of unsamphorized denim in general. But we wash it, we make the shrinkage to a minimum before it gets into your hands and leaving the texture even better.
Yeah, that way you could enjoy an unsamphorized jean, that natural like loom state denim without having to worry about shrinkage. It's basically like you took home an unsamphorized jean and, shrunk them yourself in the bath, except we did that for you right from the start. So
and on top of that, we sun dry it so that it takes time because it's obviously affected by the weather and all that stuff, but it kind of keeps the denim also
Crispy.
crunchy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not really like a drapey one wash denim. It feels raw. It feels, substantial, but
yeah.
it's
you can see here, it doesn't have a lot of flop to it. And, let's take a listen here because that's going to be the real test. So this is the MIJ12 Aomidori unsanforized 16-ounce big slub Japanese selvage denim. Okay.
Right. I mean, you can definitely hear this.
Yeah, scratchy and bassy.
Yeah.
Yeah, thick denim, scratchy. It's got a great slub texture to it. Again, if you're a texture lover, this is going to be for you. And I think this really exemplifies, like, when people talk about Japanese denim, like the top end of Japanese, this is it, right? This is what we do with the MIJ collection. There's nothing we hold back on. So we try to make the absolute pinnacle of jeans, and this is what I think we've achieved that here with the MIJ12.
Right. So what's great about MIJ series is also the details.
Yes.
So let's get into the details.
Yeah. So you'll notice, of course, is the signature maple leaf embroidery you'll find on the back pocket. You'll also find it on the chest pockets on the jean jackets. We do a dual tone stitching. So two different colors, got a little bit of like a tobacco color mixed with a lighter yellow. And to me, this it's number one, more of a vintage detail, but it also makes some of the details pop a little bit more. I find it makes it look a little bit more 3D. Speaking of 3D, we've got the raised belt loop. So you've got one extra fold on the inside there. And it just gives you a little bit more, a little more surface area to fade. Very, very small, nerdy detail, but detail we still love.
No, it does definitely create a more interesting fade on the belt loop.
Yeah, and the leather patch. This is a sheepskin leather patch we've got on here. So it's got this beautiful shine to it as well. I think it came out quite beautifully. On the inside of the jeans, you're going to notice that we have hidden rivets on the back pockets that you see on the inside that you don't see on the outside. And these, of course, are made with real copper. So these are going to oxidize. You also find the same copper hardware on the rivets. So again, the hardware oxidizes just like the denim is going to fade. So the entire garment is going to fade.
Yeah. And what it does actually is, like, I'm sure you've seen like a lot of the vintage, like really old school jeans with like a green, like,
crustiness. Yeah.
In the rivets. And that's going to create that. So,
you can look forward to that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We also have real iron buttons here on the fly. So these are going to rust over time as well. And another detail that you won't find on the regular Naked and Famous collection is the selvage fly on the inside. Just a little extra selvage detailing for us. In addition to the peekaboo selvage ID you find on the coin pocket. Now, a lot of Naked and Famous denim jeans either will have like an exposed selvage coin pocket or a hidden selvage coin pocket. I prefer hidden. Brandon prefers exposed, but with the peekaboo, you got a little bit of both. So you can see it obviously when you roll up the coin pocket, but you see a little bit of it hanging out on the side as well. I think that's a really, really neat detail. And then another signature detail of our MIJ line is the micro busted outseam. So the outseam on the jeans, you can see that the selvage ID line, it's not the selvage ID line, but the selvage itself is very narrow. And I think that makes kind of a cool detail. Really sets us apart from some of the other jeans out there in the world.
Yeah. And obviously, it's also unsanforized denim, rinse wash, so the leg is going to twist.
Yes.
It's already twisted a little. It's going to continue to twist.
If you're not a fan of leg twist, this is not the jean for you. But
you need that sanforized.
Yeah, you need sanforized jeans. You can't complain about the leg twist. This is something that I love about unsanforized denim. It is the sign, right? It is the sign that was an unsanforized jeans when you have those side seams twisting in on themselves. And yes, some people might find that they look a little off. I like the way they look because to me that's a essential vintage detail, and I'm glad that it is obviously featured in our unsanforized jeans that we have. And then just as one little detail, but it's not a little detail, but of course the chain stitched hems on the end here, so you're going to get a beautiful extra roping fade here on the hems as well. So those are. I think that's all the details. There's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think I forgot anything, but if I did, I'll B-roll it in. You'll see it here. Now, these jeans are going to be available in a variety of fits. We've got in jeans form, we've got Super Guy, we've got Weird Guy, we've got Easy Guy, we've got True Guy. So this is the second True Guy offering in our MIJ line. Now, one thing to note about the True Guy edition of this jean is that there's about 40 pairs that we made that don't have the embroidery on the back pocket, and those are going to be available at Tate and Yoko. So if you're looking for an unembroidered edition of the True Guy, we have a couple pairs available at Tate and Yoko. There was a little bit of an oopsie at the factory. It was a little happy mistake. I say now we have a little extra rare jean out there in the world, but
it's only available from Tate and Yoko. If you bought it from anybody else, you will get it with embroidery.
Yeah.
And even on Tate and Yoko, it's two separate products. So one is with embroidery. The other one, you can see it in the picture. It doesn't have embroidery. Then that's the one that doesn't have embroidery.
So just be mindful of that. And then finally, we're going to have 2 denim jacket offerings. We've got our classic trucker style denim jacket fit that we've been doing a couple times here in the MIJ line. And then our new heritage style denim jacket. A little bit shorter in the body. It's got the front pleats on the front. I guess front pleats make sense. With 2 chest pockets. A lot more heritage style here. Mm-hmm. And we only offer this jacket in the MIJ line. And this is the second edition of it, available in the MIJ12.
Right.
Now, one thing you guys might be asking is, why are these called the MIJ12? Didn't you guys already release the MIJ13?
Yes, it's because we planned this, mm-hmm. and we were planning MIJ12 and MIJ13 at the same time. It just happens that 13 came first. That's the only reason. There's no conspiracy or anything like that.
Conspiracy dispelled. Okay, so don't worry about that. Yeah, just MIJ 13 was ready before 12. Yeah. That's all. Okay, now to wrap things up here, Risa, what is your favorite thing about these jeans?
Oh, this is so difficult. I do have to say it's the color. Mm-hmm. I always like a little bit of a Greencast. Not so obvious. Super green is a little bit too much for me. Just a hint of yellowish blue color. I really like it.
I'm also in the camp of the color. Mm-hmm. But my reason is because I feel that lately I've been doing a lot of Greencast. And a lot of it's been obvious Greencast. This one is less obvious, but I think it's going to introduce a lot of people to the concept of top dye and bottom dye. You don't really hear too much about that, in the internet world when people are talking about jeans all the time. So I think that we're going to introduce more people to this concept. Maybe they've seen this type of jean before, but understanding how it works, right. I think maybe we'll crack the code for a lot of people on that one. So
and it's gonna produce a great fade. It's also 16 ounce, very slubby, so the fade is gonna be amazing. I can't wait to see what kind of fades that people come up with.
Yeah, and if you do eventually fade your jeans, be sure to share them on Instagram and tag us. We'll be able to share those with the community as well. So be sure to follow us on Instagram. And with all of that said, I think that's practically it. You're going to be able to get these at select Naked and Famous Denim retailers worldwide. We've got a blog post linked right here in the description below. So check that out. Shop at your local retailer. Get your pair. Secure your pair. This will be a one-time limited production. So when they're gone for good. And with all that said, we're going to leave it right there. So before we go, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel. Be sure to join us every Friday right here on YouTube for our weekly live stream here at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's a great hangout with the entire raw denim world. We're all converging here on the raw denim live stream. So Risa and I host it. We can't wait to see you there. And with all that said, that's it. So we'll see you guys in the next video. All right. Bye, everyone.